So our dough's rested. Now is the time we put the salt in. If you put the salt in the beginning, it inhibits the yeast growth, and that's not really what we want. Turn it right out. I'm not going to flour the counter. I don't want to add too much flour to the dough. What I find is that most people have the tendency to sprinkle a little flour on the counter, sprinkle a little flour on top of the dough, and what happens is you can add a couple extra ounces of flour to your dough, and then you'll end up with something that's drier, has a tighter crumb, and if you can weigh your ingredients versus measure them in a cup, you'll have really consistent results every time. So I'm just kneading by folding, pushing with the heel of my hand, and giving my dough a turn. I fold it, push, and turn. I kind of go a little fast when I get into a rhythm with it. And you'll find that as you're going, some parts will get sticky again, and you'll be tempted to add flour, but if you can hold back, that'd be great. You'll be rewarded with lighter rising doughs and nicer crusts. It's going to take you approximately 8 to 12 minutes to hand knead this dough, depending on how fast you're going. When you get really fast, you could probably do it in 6 to 8 minutes, but it's always going to take you a lot longer by hand than stand mixer. Stand mixer, you're looking at probably 6 minutes. You start off at a lower speed, more like a 2, let it incorporate for a few minutes, and then bump it up to like a medium speed. Your main objective is to develop good gluten structure, and it's that gluten network that's going to provide a base for a good high rise on your dough. And if you get really tired, what you can do is just let it sit on the counter, turn your bowl over it, and let it sit for 10-15 minutes, and then you can come back and start kneading it. And when you start to think that it might be close to being done, you'll cut a hunk of dough off, stretch it between your fingers, and see how well you can see light through it before it tears. The object is to get it so thin that you can see like white light behind it before it tears. All right, give it a last check. And I can get it nice and thin before it tears. See the bright white light behind it? So I know that it's done. So I'll put it in a lightly greased bowl and allow it to rise. I'm going to let it go for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to give it a turn. So after you've let it rest for about 30 minutes, you're going to want to give it a turn. And like I said, this allows you to gently strengthen the gluten and create more of a light, airy texture to it. So it's called a business letter turn, and all you do is just stretch it out a little bit and fold it in thirds. And I like to do this twice. So I'll rotate it and then fold it in thirds again. And you can already see the dough's tighter and firmer and holds its shape better, just that little extra tightening. And then place it back in. And like I said, it's going to take about an hour and a half from this point, maybe up to 2 hours for it to rise 1.5 times its original size.